Hi, everyone. One of the best ways to persuade listeners and capture their hearts is to tell a story. Facts and figures overwhelm and bore, but creating a feeling can be powerful. In the world of factory farming, there are many numbers. How many trees in the Amazon rainforest are chopped down each year to clear land for cattle feed? How much methane from farms can our atmosphere metabolize? How much more bacon can my grandfather eat before his next stroke? Or more vivid questions about the individual animals who are born just to be killed for our food. How many pigs are born to mothers confined to gestation crates where they can't stand up or turn around for the duration of their pregnancies? How many chickens miss the stun bath before having their throats slit on the conveyor belt? How many egg-laying hens are crammed into battery cages the size of an iPad? I know the answers to all of these questions and more because I have made animal welfare my world. I was raised vegetarian by two compassionate people who made a decision in the 90s that stopped getting them invited to Thanksgiving dinners and Passover seders for 2 decades. My sister and I crack jokes about how healthy our colons must be, having never had to digest meat. When we were old enough to decide for ourselves what our diets would be, there was never any question of turning away from vegetarianism. In fact, we'd already been through too many curiosity-fueled school lunch inspections, spent too many hours explaining the merits of tofu, and converted too many friends who went home to frustrated parents who couldn't argue with, "But I don't want to hurt animals, Mom." I've been an ambassador for cows, pigs, chickens, and fish since I was 5 years old, and tonight I'm here to recruit you. So let's return to the story I promised. I think most people are sold on the idea that meat is murder, but something even I only recently learned about are the horrors that happen long before a slaughter is even on the table. Dairy and egg production is especially cruel because the system expertly exploits female animals. Our story is about Bessie, an aptly named female cow who lived on a dairy farm, not even a scary factory farm, but a nice organic farm where she got to spend her days grazing on rolling pastures. Of course, this is the experience of less than 1% of cows, of female cows. But Bessie, I wanted to give you something nice to picture first about Bessie, who loved to hang out with her friends, the other female cows. She loved to roll in the grass, to gallop around the pasture, and to be scratched between her ears by the farmers. But one day when she was in the barn, a farmer suddenly came up behind her and stuck his arm up to the elbow into her backside. He inserted a long metal stick inside her, pressed a button, and then cleaned himself off. Bessie had no idea what had happened, but she knew she felt strange. 10 months later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby calf, and she was overjoyed. Bessie spent 20 wonderful minutes with her new baby, cleaning him off, nuzzling his head, and teaching him how to nurse. Then the farmer found them and stuck a plastic ring through the baby's nose so that he could no longer reach Bessie's udder in order to drink his milk. Shortly after that, the baby boy, who is useless to an industry that requires female animals, was taken to a veal farm where he would be kept alone in a pen so that he couldn't gain muscle mass. He would be fed a low-iron diet for the same reason, so that his meat would be as tender as possible. These first months of his life were also his last. Veal is a heartbreaking side effect of the dairy industry, but to die as an infant might be better than his mother's fate. Bessie still gets to graze with her friends, but is now hooked up to a machine for hours each day in the barn. Her udders are pumped for milk by the farmer she has now grown wary of. He attaches cold metal tubes to her teats, and they pinch. Like almost all milk cows, Bessie develops the common but very painful symptoms of mastitis, the same infection that plagues human mothers when they breastfeed. Her udder ducts become so clogged that pain radiates through her entire body as she fights off infection. Her udder is so swollen that she can barely walk around the pasture, let alone frolic like she used to. But she starts to feel better after a few months when her milk production goes down, and she isn't as frightened the second time that the farmer sticks the strange tube in her backside. This time, Bessie knows she's pregnant after a few weeks and is thrilled to get to meet her new baby. This time, she gives birth to a sweet baby girl. This time, Bessie knows she'll have to fight to keep her. When the farmer comes to drag her baby away, Bessie bellows in anger and pushes him, and he immediately smacks her with a metal pole and continues to drag away the calf. Bessie, now slowed down by her pain, trails them to a truck. She can hear her baby crying out for her even as the farmer closes the car door and starts to drive off. This doesn't stop Bessie, though. She follows them, mooing loudly for the next 5 minutes until they reach the gate of the farm. There must be some way that she could still get her baby back and feed her for the first time. But the farmer has quickly locked her in and picked up speed, driving off with her newborn. It's harder for Bessie to get over her loss this time. She will give birth to 4 more babies before her fertility and milk production slow. She'll be sold as cheap, low-quality meat to a slaughterhouse at just 5 years old. The average lifespan for a cow is 20. I can't emphasize enough how commonplace this is. It's simply the only way to get dairy from cows or any other animal. It's happening all across the world right now, and in the US, there are 9 million mama cows just like Bessie, and 99% of those cows, each with unique personalities and just as much love for their babies, live on factory farms where they may not see the light of day for years. I know it may seem hard to go vegan. Ice cream is amazing, cheese is literally addictive, but when I think about Bessie and her sisters, I'm overwhelmed. But here's the good news. There are more and more delicious vegan options every year. During my time in college alone, the vegan cheese market has boomed, and I ate spectacular pizza at places all around the city. If something matters to you enough, you can do anything. My driving force is the personalities on our plates. I have met too many sweet, rescued cows to go back now. I hope you will take them into consideration next time you sit down for a meal. Thank you.